Here with our very first live lesson or live feedback session. Hopefully we are live. Am I a couple of minutes early? I'm 1 minute early. So first of all, just let me check that everything is live and everything is working properly, because live video is very, very temperamental. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So let me just check if it is actually live. There we go. 2 people watching live. So if you can hear me and see me and everything, just pop a comment below just saying yes or hello or whatever. And what I'll do is just pop some information. In here before we start. Save. Okay, guys. So 3 comments so far. We are live. Hello to Ali. Hello to Vanitha. Hello to Dovlet. Hello to Alan Krita. Hello to Tucson. Hello to Jasleen. Hello to Samira. Hello to everybody. Okay. So everything seems to be working okay. So let me first explain what's going to happen in these feedback sessions and what's going to happen today and the rest of the week. First of all, thank you very, very much to everybody who watched the lesson, but especially thank you to the people who submitted their work. The first task was probably a little bit easy for a lot of people. Didn't want to start off very, very, very challenging on the first day. But it makes a huge difference to the group and to you guys and to your success if you actually do the task. So thank you very much to everybody who did them. It was really impressive to see so much work going on. I think this is probably the biggest IELTS class in the world. But by doing all the tasks, you really are going to improve. And that's the only thing that I want to happen. Okay, so what are we going to do in these feedback sessions? So 2 things. What I do is during the day, I go and look at everybody's tasks, everybody's work, and I try and find the things that you guys did really well. So some good examples, and some of the things that you need to improve. So some of the things that maybe common errors that we want to address, so that I can give you guys feedback and then you guys can improve. Because that's kind of what one of my philosophies to teaching is. I teach stuff, then I get people to do work, then I give them feedback. And because if you take out any of those elements, sort of the learning, implementation, feedback, practicing, if you take out even one of those elements, it's not as effective. So it's always good to be taught something and to watch a lesson, but it's always good to do something with that lesson to activate your knowledge. And then the best thing is to get feedback. So I can't give every 2,500 people individual feedback, but what I'll try and do is, pick out the commonalities, the common areas of concern, and try and give you collective feedback. Then after I do that, that will take 10-15 minutes each day probably. After I do that, sorry that there's the sun shining in. It's the low Irish sun, winter sun still. What I will do is answer any questions that you have. So I have my phone with me, I can see everybody's question, and what I'll do is I will stay on for about, my dinner is ready at 7 p.m. So I have to go at 7 or my wife will lock me out of the house. But I'll be on, I'll be answering as many questions as I can until my wife calls me for dinner. Alright guys, so without further ado, let me share my screen with you. And let's get going on. So I can share, I've got this fancy technology this fancy software where I can share my screen and everything. It's pretty cool. So just let me test that it is working. Where I can. Yeah, seems to be working pretty well. All right. Okay. So, challenge number one, let me give you some feedback. So, just to remind you, here is the question that we did. So, some people believe that it is good to share as much information as possible in scientific research, business, and the academic world. Others believe that some information is too important or too valuable to be shared freely. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So, I asked you to do three things. What is the main topic? What are the specific things they want you to discuss? And think of one idea for both sides and say if you agree or disagree with each. So thank you to all the people that did this. So let me give you some feedback on that. So what is the main topic? So the main topic was sharing of information. All right, so it's about information and it's about whether we should share or we shouldn't share. So the specific things they wanted you to discuss were share as openly as possible, or limit sharing because too valuable or too important. So those are the two sides. So knowing what the main topic is allows you to avoid just talking generally about sharing information. All right, so we're not going to talk generally about this. What we're going to do is we're going to drill down into the two specific things they want you to talk about. And those two are, should we share, be as open as possible, or should we limit sharing? All right, those are the two sides of the debate, if you will. So share as openly as possible. Here were some good ideas. So here I looked through all of your ideas, and here were the common ones that a lot of you were giving that were really good. So the first one was we should share to promote innovation. All right. So innovating in terms of new products or new scientific developments and things like that. That was a very common one, and that was a good one. The second one was very common. A lot of you said education. So we should share information because it's really important for education. Kind of linked to that in a way was it helps improve research. So this is the reason why a lot of scientists like open for example open AI or open cancer research or heart disease research. Everybody can share it and everybody can see it, and that helps things. And the other thing that people were saying, which is a really good idea, was collaboration. And a lot of you were saying collaboration in order to make things more efficient, in order to make teams more efficient, in order to make processes more efficient, or just collaborating. So it could be scientists collaborating, could be teachers collaborating, students collaborating, keeping the information as open as possible. So if you had one of those four ideas, that was really, really good. If you didn't have one of those four ideas, doesn't mean you're wrong. I can't give individual feedback to everybody, but those four ideas were ones that I kept seeing again and again that were really good. So to share as openly as possible, so the same side, not so good ideas. So which ones were not so good? And so I tried to find some common ones. Uh, a lot of people were just saying it helps people. So we should share information and be as open as possible because it helps people. Now, I know what you mean. I know what you probably mean one of these four things. So it helps people innovate, or it helps people learn, or it helps research. But just saying things like it helps people, that's a little bit too vague. So it's better to be a little bit more specific than just saying things like it's good or it's beneficial or it helps people. Another one that people were saying was you can to share as make it as open as possible so people can copy. It's a little bit illogical. I didn't really understand that one. If it doesn't make sense to you, or it doesn't make sense to most people, it's probably not going to make sense to the examiner. Another idea a popular one that I seen was it will get results, or it will improve things, or it will get results. Again, similar to the helps people one, a little bit too vague. And the other one I seen was it will be accessible. So we should share information to make it accessible. So really what you're doing there is you're just stating the obvious. Um, that's not really an explanation. It's just really repeating something that is very, very, very obvious. We want to get things that are obvious, that are straightforward, but not things that are, unbelievably obvious. So now let's look at the other side, limit sharing. So here are some good ideas. national security, very, very well. So to protect against um, terrorism, for example, or to stop other countries stealing your nuclear weapons plans or whatever that is. And privacy. So very, very simple, very straightforward, very specific privacy. You shouldn't share information because some of that information is private. Intellectual property, something I know a lot about. Something that I try and protect as much as possible is, you can't share information. Like a lot of you think that it's okay to share IELTS books, soft copies of IELTS books when they're copyrighted, or share other people's courses that you paid for. It's actually a crime. So, so ideas. So people said, it's a good idea or a good idea because people might abuse it. So we should limit sharing because people might abuse it. That's okay, but you need to be a little bit more specific with that. So not so good ideas for limit sharing. It will harm people. So why would it harm people? Be more specific. There's lots of money has been invested. Again, doesn't really make sense. It's illogical. Information is too sensitive. Again, you're just really repeating it, or it's a little bit vague. It's a little bit too obvious. Okay, so what is a good idea? So I thought because there were, let's say 75% of you had great ideas. Let's say 25% of you had at least one idea that might need a little bit of work, might need a little bit of improvement. So I thought about some characteristics of a good idea. Number one, it should be obvious. So if 100 people were asked to think of an idea, most of them would say that. So if um, your idea is obvious, that's a good thing. It shouldn't be too obvious. It shouldn't be, like saying I like food because it's delicious. Like that's a little bit too obvious. Um, or it's kind of like my son saying I like toys because they're fun. It shouldn't be like that sort of obvious, but the majority of people should agree that that's an idea that answers that question. Simple. In terms of simplicity, I mean that you can easily explain that to somebody. If you have an idea that you can easily explain to somebody in not too many words, then that's a good idea. It should be specific. All right. Somebody should know exactly what you are talking about without you even giving any explanations. And it's logical. And that obviously has to make sense. So if it's obvious, it's simple, it's specific, and it's logical, I should try and make like an SSOL or something like that. One of those fancy ones. Um, if you can answer yes to those questions, that your idea is obvious and it's simple and it's specific and it's logical, then it's probably a good idea. What happens with a lot of people is they try and think of very high level, sophisticated ideas that maybe no one has ever heard of before. Those are the wrong ideas to use, guys. They're not obvious. They're very difficult to explain, and they might not even be logical. Think about the most obvious ideas, the most straightforward ideas, and they're normally the best ones. So, thank you very much for everybody who submitted your work. And now let's have a look at any questions. So just before I start answering any questions, every time we do one of these $1 5-day challenges, in the feedback sessions, in the Q&A, question and answer sessions, a lot of people ask questions that we will be doing later on in the week. So for example, on Thursday we'll be doing vocabulary. On Friday we'll be doing grammar. On tomorrow we'll be doing structure. On Wednesday we'll be doing developing main ideas. So if you're asking questions about that, what I'm going to do is just say we'll talk about it later on next week, unless it's some sort of very, very specific question that I can answer. Okay, guys. So let me get the questions up, and I'll try and answer as many questions as I can. Okay. If you can see this, Facebook only show me the last like 5 questions. So if you've already asked a question, Ask it again, because I can't see it. See. First question is from Malik. Can I discuss two ideas in the same paragraph? No, I wouldn't do that because you're probably not developing your main ideas properly. Saba, if I write it will increase the knowledge among people, is that okay? Yes, that's education. Chandru, how to improve the good idea. That's exactly what we've been talking about. So maybe you missed the first part of that. Um, Matthew, will we be writing down this idea as such in the essay? I don't know what that means, Matthew. Can you let me know what that means? Jazza, each opinion should be how many words. It doesn't matter how many words it is. That's not an issue. Ennis, the idea of plagiarism is near to intellectual property. No, they're different. Plagiarism is when you copy someone and you pretend that it's your work. Intellectual property theft is when, for example, if you download an IELTS Cambridge book and you don't pay for it and you download the soft copy, you've broken the law. You're a criminal if you do that. That's different. Abelish, how to start the essay. We will be doing that tomorrow, Abelish. How do we know if an idea is logical to the examiner? But so it should be logical to you. Logic should be logic to everybody. That's kind of what logic is. So if it's not logical to you, and you don't think that it's logical to other people, then it's probably not. Basically, if you have any doubt at all about whether it is logical, then don't use it. Is there any follow-up work for the next lecture? No, just wait till 9 a.m. tomorrow. Man, what about an idea that has more components, broaden and upgrade knowledge? Don't really know what that means, Ayman, but feel free to let me know what you think that means. Amrita, will you be helping us with the other types of essay? The stuff that we're going to be doing is applicable to all of the different types of essays, but we're focusing just on discussion essays this week. Hyman Show. Will we be learning paraphrasing in this course? Yes, Thursday. Guang Nya. How many ideas should we have in one paragraph? 1. If I don't have enough knowledge to give examples, what should I do? Wednesday we'll talk about examples. I'll show you what to do. If we have an answer after the statement, is it good or bad, should we discuss both views? So if it says, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? Just answer the question. It is good or it is bad. If it says, discuss both views and give your opinion, then that's a discussion question. If it's a direct question, like, is this a positive or negative development, or is this good or bad, then that's an opinion question. They're just asking you a direct question. Sharika, clear the confusion between general topic or specific topic. Which area as academic, etc. should be at? I don't know what that means. So guys, when you're asking questions, realize that I cannot go into your brain and know exactly what you're thinking. So clear communication is really, really, really important for when you're asking someone questions and on the IELTS test. So I'm not complaining because I know that it's not your mother tongue, but try and put yourself in the shoes of the person reading your writing, and that will make you a far better communicator. If you're writing something that just doesn't make sense, then the reader just can't help you. Can the same reasons be applicable for both views? No. Maybe in limited circumstances, but why would you try and make it more difficult than it needs to be? Is recorded can be made available? Yes. Immediately after this, it'll be posted in the group. Vengatash, what type of question is this? Give reasons for your answer. That's not a type of question, that's a bit after a type of question. Advantages is plural, so we have to write 2 or 1. So that's a good question, Abid, and it's a question that I actually asked very, very high level IELTS examiners, like the IELTS examiners that overlook the other IELTS examiners and train them, because I think that it should be just 1. I think that even though it says advantages, disadvantages, that it should just be 1, because if you put more than 1, you're not fully developing your ideas. And a lot of people disagree with me, so I have people that I know that are very high up in IELTS, and I asked them, and they agreed with me that it should be 1. You can put 2, it's fine to put 2, but you must develop your main ideas. So if you put 2 and 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages, you're going to have a very, very long essay. You might not have time to do that. But a huge number of my students who have got band 7, 8 or 9 have put 1 advantage and 1 disadvantage, and they've been fine. How many reasons for each idea? You're not giving reasons, you're giving explanations, and you're giving 1 explanation. That 1 explanation could be 1, 2 or 3 sentences. Could we write education and innovation in a paragraph? No, 1 idea, 1 paragraph. Manja, according to you, what should be free or paid? I don't understand what that means, sorry. Dovelet, I need to write minimum 60 words to write a decent introduction about this question. Will that be too long? You have to stop thinking about number of words and number of sentences and things like that, and start thinking about writing effective paragraphs. So you can write a very short paragraph, very short introduction, and it could be very effective. Or you can write a very long introduction, and it could be very effective. There's no such thing really as, too short or too long. There's effective and not effective. So stop thinking about the number of words and start thinking about it being effective or not, it having the essential elements of a good introduction. Nikita, where can we give our own opinion? We're going to do that tomorrow, Nikita. How to organize thoughts in essay. We're going to do that tomorrow. Are you uploading this video? Yes, it's going to be uploaded and stored for 7 days. Matthew, we're going to be doing introductions tomorrow, Matthew. Kalish, you're asking about should we write our own opinion? Tomorrow. Sorry that I keep saying tomorrow, but it's just far better that I do a full lesson on, for example, structure or introductions than just give like a quick answer. Should we use idioms or phrases? Never, ever, ever, ever write idioms or phrases in an IELTS writing task 2 essay. If you see a website or a teacher who tells you to write idioms and phrases, run the opposite direction, because they do not know what they're doing. A very, very big website from India contacted me last weekend asking me to advertise their IELTS course. And the first thing I did was just look at the modules on their course, and they had like 4 modules on how to use idioms in IELTS writing task 2, and I replied, nope, sorry, you don't know what you're doing, so I'm not going to associate with someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Can we write 2 or more supporting sentences or explanations for an idea? Yes, you should, and we're going to show you how to do that tomorrow and the next day. Does a perfect idea have a higher score? There's no such, very good questions, there's no such thing as a perfect idea. There are relevant, specific, obvious, simple, straightforward ideas, which are the best ones. But there's not like the examiner has a list of ideas that are good and a list of ideas that are bad. It doesn't work like that. Jude, I used the word claimed ownership by people. I don't know what that means, Jude. You haven't given me any context about what you're saying, so I don't know what that means. Can you give me more challenges? No, we will not have any more challenges after this one. These challenges, I think a lot of people are just say, give us a speaking one, give us a reading one, give us a task one. Like, these challenges take months, like 4, 5, 6 months to create, to promote, to do what I'm doing now. We can't just create them out of thin air. I also struggle to determine what needs to be exactly. Tulis, Victor, I don't understand your question, sorry. Rinky, we're going to do introductions and developing main body paragraphs tomorrow. Someone whose name is in, I think, Russian, so I don't understand it. Where can we find a bank of good ideas? There isn't any such thing as a bank of good ideas, and that would be the wrong way to do it, because you're not thinking yourself. You are thinking in a very formulaic way, so we want to give you the flexibility. And to be honest, the ideas you need to think of are not very advanced. They're pretty simple, and the topics that you're going to get are pretty simple too. So I'm sure that you'll be fine. A really good thing to do is read the news each day. Not the headlines, not the celebrity stuff, not the sport, but if you go onto any news website, BBC, The Guardian, The Times, The New York Times, it doesn't really matter what it is, but just a decent, broadsheet English newspaper, and click on the topics at the top. So technology, the environment, health, education, and just read one story a day. By the end of weeks, months, however long it takes you, you will have a bank of answers in your brain, and that's what you want. The answer should be 3 paragraphs, right, Jazza? Tomorrow we're going to talk about structure. Anup, can I write we can maintain confidentiality by keeping a limit on sure? Don't know what that means, Anup. Sorry. Malik, 2 ideas in the same direction, like if I say it will break. Don't understand what that means, Malik. It's not that I'm stupid. I hope not. I'm not that stupid. And it's not that you guys your English isn't good enough. You're just not providing enough context for me to understand what you need. I'm sorry if I'm saying I don't understand your question. If I did, I would help you. Should we follow the structure for advantages? No, it's a different structure for advantages and disadvantages. Kalish, in this challenge, should we or should we not give our opinion in the end? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Raghavar, tomorrow that will become clear. Ruchi, are you going to explain how an essay is marked in terms of points? No, but I can do that now. 4 categories: task achievement, coherence and cohesion, vocabulary and grammar. 25% each. That's it. Will you teach us paraphrasing? Yes, Famsi. What time is it? So I've got another 30 minutes, guys. I'm going to try and do as many questions as I can, but I'm only one person, so don't get angry with me if I don't get to you. Should we highlight in our ideas of this? Ahmed, that will become clear tomorrow. Hey Chris, why did you ask for 1 ideas for both the views? Because that's what you do. Why would you not do that? Can you give us more challenges? No. This week, and then I'm taking time off. Andrew, does the answer say sharing information may help discover a treatment for cancer? What I would do is I would use the cancer thing as an example. That would be a really good example. So I'd use my main idea as it helps to further scientific research. That would be my main idea, and then I would use um, cancer as an example. That'd be a really good one. Not that cancer is good, but you know what I mean. Stephanie, do we need to cover all those three specific, or can we focus on one? No, do not focus just on one. If you just focus on one side and don't and focus just on one of the three things that you need to do, you have not answered the question. So it says discuss both views and give your opinion. So discuss both views and give your opinion. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Three things. If you do not do those three things, you have not answered the question. You'll get a band 5 for task achievement. What exactly should we write in the first paragraph? Karen, tomorrow. We'll do introductions tomorrow. Esther, thank you very much. Tossin, will they score us based on our ideas or opinions? That's part of it, but there's a huge number of other things that you also need to consider. You need to be good at all of those things in order to get a good score. You can't just focus on one or two things. Can we download the videos? No, you can't download the videos. How many examples can we give? One per main idea, so one per main body paragraph. Filling, can we view this again? Yes, you can. I got 6 in writing tasks the last 2 times in IELTS. How do you know you got 6 in writing tasks too? They don't tell you. Tully, so you're talking about the difference between main topic and specific. So, if the question was about social media, and it was about privacy within social media. So the general topic is about social media, but the specific thing is about privacy. If it was about the environment, so the environment might be the general topic, but the specific thing might be global warming, or water pollution, or air pollution, or something like that. So normally there's a general topic, and then there's a specific thing within that general topic. One example for both views, we'll be doing that on Wednesday. Sorry that I keep saying that, but it's better that I do a full lesson on these things than a 30-second answer. Hi Chris, does this method work at the exam time? Because at that tension situation is not possible. Of course it does. I wouldn't teach it to you if it didn't work on exam day. It's not the method that is a problem, Albin. It's your ability to control your stress and your nerves. But what I will say about stress and nerves is the number one way to combat that is to be totally prepared. All of the students on my VIP course, whenever they go in and sit down, and no matter what question comes up, they know exactly what to do. So they're not nervous, they're not stressed out. I wish to have idea generation for the rest of the essay types. I wish I could have time to do that, but I don't. I'm sorry, we just need to focus on one. How many ideas for one view? One idea. How much time to improve from 6.5 to a 7? That's an impossible question to answer. Some people 1 day, some people 1 year, and everybody else in between. I would have to sit down with you and look at your work and look at your schedule, look at your general level of English, look at many different things to establish a timetable for you. That's one of the things we do with our VIP students, but obviously I can't do it with 2,500 people. Can I share examples from my own country? Of course you can. Why not? Sharika, I'm sorry I don't understand your question. Caitlin, do the words data and research have plural form? Data is actually the plural form of datum. Datum is the singular form. Data is the plural. Not a lot of people know that. I think you're talking about countable and uncountable nouns, Caitlin. But if you look up common mistakes with countable and uncountable nouns, you'll find a lot of them. How to train idea generation. Get real IELTS questions, think of ideas, show them to an IELTS expert, and ask them to comment on them, give you feedback on them. Tulis Victor, feels as if my ideas are a bit too vague. Are there ways that I can use? Again, that's something that you would need to get feedback from a teacher on. It's difficult for you to judge whether your ideas are general or specific. I don't know. My live thing is kind of flashing. I don't know whether I'm still live or not, but hopefully I am. Let me see. Let me check. Should be. Okay. My live. I don't know whether I'm still live or not, but hopefully I am. Let me see. Let me check. Should be. Okay, so it crashed there. It crashed on my thing and it crashed on my phone. And I've lost where I am with the questions. Let me see if I can get back to where I was with the questions. But it's nearly time to go anyway, so my dinner's nearly ready. And my wife is actually watching this live so she can see. Oh, hello, Win. Alright, I've lost where I was with the questions, so I'm just going to answer. If you ask the question, just ask it again. And I'll try and get through as many as I can in the next 25 minutes. Is it important to divide the essay into paragraphs? Yes, it is. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Hey Chris, did you read our challenge that we did today in the comments? Yes, I did. Zulfiki, how to finally pick up the correct specifics on discussion essay. I don't know what that means, sorry. Can we use this method in all types of task 2? No, just for discussion. So the structure showed you how to discuss both views, so why would you use that with any other task 2 question? Just use it for discussion. How to describe my opinion? I'm going to do that tomorrow. 90% of your questions are going to be asked tomorrow or Wednesday. Erroneous analysis. Very, very good name. Erroneous analysis. And good question. I've been practicing writing essays, but I don't know if I'm improving or not. Do you offer any service to assess? Yes, I do. I do offer that. We offer it free as part of our VIP course. So we offer free corrections and feedback, obviously, to our students. So the VIP course is currently closed. But we will have some places at the end of the week. Can you kindly confirm the answer for the first challenge? There is no correct answer. There are lots of different correct answers. Assad, and I did that at the beginning of this lesson. How to pick the specific topic correctly. Follow this lesson. That's what the whole lesson was about. Is it recommended to discuss the good and bad for each view? No, that's not what I meant. When I was talking about good and not so good, I was talking about the quality of those ideas. Where to write an opinion? Tomorrow, I'll show you that. Hi Chris, I wrote it includes time and cost. Is it right idea? Bit vague. Is an example a must for each idea? Yes. Should I write 4 or 5 paragraphs? Either is fine. It depends what is in those paragraphs, not how many paragraphs you have. Does handwriting matter? No. Only if it's so terrible that the examiner can't read it. That's the only thing that you need to worry about. What is the specifics we pick are also kind of main topics. You're overthinking it, Roxana. You're overcomplicating it when it doesn't need to be that complicated. Difference between brainstorming and idea generation. Yeah, brainstorming is a waste of time. Idea generation is brainstorming is a form of idea generation. Brainstorming is a complete and utter waste of time. It is a technique that was developed in the 1960s by marketing experts to try and allow them to think of freer ideas. So the whole purpose is to think of ideas which are not relevant to the topic. So that's a very bad way to think of ideas for an essay, especially the IELTS essay. Mohammed, if the question says, do you think it is good or bad, you just answer it, I think it's good or I think it's bad, like an opinion essay. Should every idea be supported by an example? Yes. Can we use false information, like Neil Armstrong went to Mars in 1960? What do you think? What do you think? Do you think that you could write, for example, Neil Armstrong went to Mars in 1960? Are you writing science fiction or are you writing fact? What do you think? Can you teach us on use of commas while combining sentences? No, because that would take about 1 hour and I don't have... So for every video that lasts an hour, it normally takes like 5 to 6 times longer than that to make that video. So I don't have 6 hours to make a video about commas. Can you create 2 bonus speaking lessons at the end of the course? For the same reason about the commas one, no. I do like to sleep from time to time. I do like to see my little boy from time to time. So like this is a lot of work, guys. Like look at my eyes already, and it's just Monday. Like think about the amount of work that it takes to teach 2,500 people. Like I cannot just create lessons like that. Vinay, does a 2-sentence introduction strategy correct? Forget about number of sentences. Forget about number of words. Too many people think that using the correct number of words or the correct number of sentences it's not about the number of words or the number of sentences. It's about the quality of those sentences and of those paragraphs. As long as you're going over 250 words, that's all that really matters in terms of word count. Like if you have a teacher who tells you that these are the specific number of words you need to use or something like that, like they really don't know what they're talking about. They think they do, but they really don't know. Comment on thesis statements. We're doing that tomorrow. Nagarendra, you're talking about structure. We'll be doing that tomorrow. Guys, if your questions are about structure, introductions, main body paragraphs, conclusion, where to put opinion, paraphrasing, any of that stuff, we will be doing that this week. So please don't ask more questions about the stuff we're already doing. Muhammad Ali. Okay, how do I feel I am answering my question and I'm not getting beyond the topic while writing? You're going to be using explanations and examples, Muhammad. We're doing that on Wednesday. Can you show your sample essay? Yes, tomorrow. Sorry that I keep saying that, but it's just like, it doesn't make any sense to, teach something 2 times. Um, does punctuation play a role in the marking process? Yes, because it's part of grammar. The more grammar mistakes you make, the lower your score. So if you're making lots of punctuation mistakes, you're going to get a lower score. If in the question they only want your opinion and don't ask you to discuss both views, what is the right thing to do? Do whatever they tell you to do. So if they say, do you agree or disagree? Tell them if you agree or disagree. If they say, discuss both views and give your opinion, discuss both views and give your opinion. If they say, what are the advantages and disadvantages? Tell them what the advantages and disadvantages are. Just do what they tell you to do. Pretty simple. Can we use slang like wanna or gonna? Not in IELTS writing task 2. You can in the speaking test. In fact, it will help your fluency and your connected speech, your pronunciation, but not in IELTS writing task 2. How much time should we spend for planning? Between 5 and 10 minutes. That might sound like a lot, but think about it as investing time rather than wasting time. Can we write with a pencil in the exam? Yes. Where should we put our opinion? Tomorrow. Task 2 is the same for general and academic? Yes, it is. Can we invent stories as examples? Yes, but they must be believable, and they must prove the point that you're trying to make. Could you recommend a book to practice punctuation? I have a full course called the IELTS grammar course. It's 12 modules. All it does is just teach people grammar, and then what we do is we look at your writing and we correct every grammar mistake, tell you why you made those mistakes, what your common mistakes are, blah blah blah. But it's only available to VIP students. W. Diana, is this a good answer? No, it's too vague. Kindly tell me when your VIP course will be open. I don't want to talk about that a lot. I'm trying to avoid talking about it because when I have talked about it in the past, people have accused me of marketing, and all I'm doing is marketing, despite me, doing a 1-hour lesson where I only mention the VIP course for like 30 seconds in the 1 hour. People get very sensitive about it. It's currently closed. You can't get in. It's full, but we will have some places available at the end of this week. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Can we write quotes? No. If I write 10%, will that be counted as 2 words in writing task 2? Why not worry about that and just always write over 250 words and make that part of writing, make that part of your process, and then you won't have to worry about little small things like that. Ragavur Reddy, I don't understand that question. I'm sorry. How many sentences? Don't worry about sentences, worry about the quality of your sentences. Will you cover examples? Yes, I will. Does this idea generation work on other types of essay? No. What I do with my students is I teach them specific techniques for the specific types of question for idea generation. So no. My last time was 5.5. Why do you think I was wrong? How would I know that? How would I know that? Because your mark, whether you got 5.5 or 6 or 6.5 or 7, is dependent on so many different things. There are hundreds of reasons why you might have got a 5.5, and I don't know because I haven't seen your writing. If I see your writing, I can tell you within 2 minutes, but I have to see your writing first. Same to Manjali. I got a 7. What am I lacking? I've no idea. That's kind of like you saying to me, guess where I'm from based on my accent, but not letting me listen to your accent. Like, do you see what I mean? Like, I need the information in order to establish what your level is and what your problems are. Everybody has individual problems. If everybody had the same problems, then it would be really, really easy to get a high score because you would just fix those problems. Gokko, very common question. Can you just outline the structures of the 4 other essay types as bonus material? No. Why? Because that would be completely useless. And what would happen was, if I did that, what you would do is you would just take those basic structures and go and do the exam thinking that you're going to automatically get a high score. Because what people think is that these are magic structures, that you just follow structures and that's all you need. What we're going to be doing tomorrow is talking about structures count for like 5% of your mark. They're very useful, but they're very, very small part. Also, just general skeleton structures are completely useless without detail and without someone showing you what to do and what not to do. So that's why I do not give them out, because they need further explanation. Be like, giving someone a gun who had never fired a gun before. It's a very powerful thing, but in the wrong hands, it's a very dangerous thing. Same with, general structures. Like, I'm going to mention VIP again, but on my VIP course, we have a full 1 hour lesson on each of the different types. And then we go into further detail and further examples and practice and feedback. That's the level of practice and the level of detail you need to go into, not just a general structure. Everything I do is for a very, very, very specific reason. I don't just wake up in the morning and go, what will I do? Like, everything is thought out. And I've been doing this for years and years and years. Manar, I don't understand that question. If we exceed the word limit, does it negative marking? No. Whoever told you that is... Oh my, there's so much bad advice out there. You must go over the word limit. But there's no negative marking for going over. It's what you should do. Does simple sentences versus complex sentences matter? Yes, they do, a lot. Is it necessary to mention the positive and negative aspects of both sides? No, you're overcomplicating it. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Oh, 5 more minutes, guys, then I gotta go before my brain starts to melt. Can I write a story as an example? No, that would be too much. Hi Chris, how to improve vocabulary and synonyms? We'll talk about that on Thursday. What do you think, Chris, if my example was political or religious? If it's a good example, it's a good example. It doesn't matter if it's political or religious. Unless you're saying something crazy, like the Nazis were good guys, or something crazy like that, or Stalin was a really nice man, obviously not. Or maybe you think he's great. Sorry if you do. Please give an overview of the other types. Just address that. You can't give an overview of... You have to go deep. You have to really learn them properly. It would be like... Imagine you're learning how to drive a car. Would you say to the driving instructor, just give me an overview. Just let me know the fundamentals. Just let me know the basics. I'll be fine. You're going to kill yourself. Why did you delete the bonus lessons? Because I said I was going to, and because I want you to do work. So. Can you help us with the latest topics which are on trend nowadays? There's no such thing as trending topics. It's not Twitter. Same. Shall we explore trending areas? I think you're looking at websites which are trying to get you to click on them. One of the best ways to get IELTS students to click on a website is to say that there's trending topics. It's bullshit. So. Will the examiner really count the number of words? Unfortunately, yes, they have to do that. Like literally 1, 2, 3, 4. Does spelling affect the score? Yes. It's part of vocabulary. Can we use personal examples? We'll talk about that on Wednesday. You can if you want to, but I would avoid it because most people mess them up. Do we get feedback on the challenge work we did? Yes and no. You get global feedback, but I'm not giving individual feedback to 2,500 people because the laws of physics do not allow that. I cannot bend time. Can we use short forms of the words like don't or shouldn't? In the speaking test, yes. Writing task 2, no. Alright guys, I gotta go because wow, that's a lot of questions. I'm never going to get all these questions done. If you asked a question and I didn't get to it, I'm sorry, but my brain can only constantly answer questions for about 1 hour, and my dinner is ready, and my wife is an amazing cook and has probably cooked me something really, really nice, so I better go. If you asked a question, it's highly, highly likely that we will cover that on tomorrow, which is Tuesday, or on Wednesday, or on Thursday, or on Friday. And so do not, please, start crying or start complaining or anything like that. Thank you very much for everybody who asked a question. I will be doing, all the lessons. I will be answering 90% of your questions. Feedback session tomorrow, I'll try and answer as many questions as I can too. Thank you very much, guys. It's a pleasure as always. Thank you especially to the people who submitted their work. I looked at everything. I'm really, really impressed. This video will be posted immediately. Give it 2 minutes and it will post immediately in the group. Watch the beginning of it if you missed it, because I give feedback on everybody's work. Alright guys, thank you very much. I'll see you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. We're going to work on introductions, structure, main body paragraphs, sample answers, all that good stuff.